Hello students, this is the part 3 of the chapter Heredity and Variation. Now in this part we will talk about the genetic disorders. Now what is genetic disorders? So the disorders which occurs due to the abnormality in the chromosomes. Now we all have set number of chromosomes, but if there is any abnormality in the chromosome, it might be due to mutation also, then this leads to the disease that is called as the genetic disorders. Now chromosomal abnormality can include the decrease in number of chromosome or sometimes increase in number of chromosomes also. Now in humans we only have 46 number of chromosome, but sometimes in few people it can be 47 as well. So that means they are having some extra number of chromosome, they are having some extra characters which leads to the genetic disorders. So as we humans we only have 44 autosomes and we have two sex chromosome, or you can also say as allosomes. So if these chromosomes are not equal, they should be 46 only for a normal human individual, but if they are less or if the chromosome number is more, or even if there is deletion even a single part of any chromosome, then it leads to what? It leads to genetic disorders. Now there can be two types of genetic disorders. First, due to the chromosomal abnormality, or second, due to the mutation. First, we will talk about the chromosomal abnormality. That means there is some problem in the chromosome. There is some abnormal chromosome which is present. It can be due to the deletion of chromosome or an extra number of chromosome. So if any part is there in the chromosome, if anything is present, if any mistake is present in the chromosomes only, then it leads to what? The chromosomal abnormalities. Let us look at few examples of chromosomal abnormalities. The first example is Down syndrome. It is also called as the trisomy of 21st chromosome. Now here in the autosome, that is on the 21st chromosome, you have an extra pair of chromosome. So that is why it is called as trisomy, as instead of two chromosome, one extra chromosome is present. Now it is an autosomal disorder as the extra chromosome is 21. This is not present in the allosome, it is present in the autosomes. So this is called as the trisomy of 21st. So here you have 46 plus 1, that is 47 chromosome. Now this was first discovered as the chromosomal disorder in human beings, and we have 47 chromosome. Now here the infants with this disorder, they have the extra chromosome, that is the 21st pair, that is the 47 chromosome. Instead of 46, they have what? They have 47 chromosome. Now because of the Down syndrome, as there is one chromosome which is extra, so they will have what they have. Usually they have mental retardation, their mind is not developed, and mostly in the Down syndrome, the children, they do not develop their mental awareness, they are mentally retarded. And other symptoms can also include, like they have short height, mostly they have a chubby face, they can have flat nose, they have a scanty hair, single horizontal palm, and usually their life expectancy is between 16 to 20 years, and the Down syndrome people, they do not survive more than 20 years. Now next is the Turner syndrome. It is also called as the monosomy of X chromosome. Now here one chromosome is missing. Now it should be 44 plus X or XY, that is two sex chromosomes should be there. But here we have only one X chromosome, that is 44 plus X. So it arises because of the one X chromosome. So it is related to the gender, and the X chromosome, as only one X chromosome is present, so it is related to women's only, as women's have X chromosomes. Now here the women's which are there, they will be sterile, they are unable to have children due to the improper growth of their reproductive organs, as only one X chromosome is present. So they are females, but they are not entirely females, as their reproductive organs cannot be developed, as one X chromosome is missing. For a female, it should be two X chromosomes. So it is only one X chromosome. So it is a female, but with abnormality, as their reproductive organs are not functional. Now, this is how a hand of a child with Turner syndrome look like. They have a very fluffy hand. Next is the Klinefelter syndrome. Now, this Klinefelter syndrome is related to males as it is related with the sex chromosome, but it is related to males as the chromosomes which are present, they have extra number of sex chromosomes. So they have two X and they have one Y. So as they have one Y, they are males, but they have more number of female characters in them as they have two X chromosome instead of one X chromosome. So here the one extra X chromosome, hence their chromosomal condition becomes 44 plus XXY. And such men are sexually sterile because their reproductive organs are not well developed. Another thing is the disease occurring due to mutation in single gene into a defective one, and these are called as the monogenic disorders. Now, these monogenic disorders can be around 4,000 type of disorders. Now, due to the abnormal gene, their products are either produced in the insufficient quantity or not produced at all. So all the genes are responsible for the protein synthesis and also for different process in our body. But as these genes are abnormal, so the insufficient amount of quantities are produced, the products are not produced. It also affects the metabolism that is in our body, the metabolism which has to be normal. So as because of the defective gene, so there can be abnormal metabolism, and people with these defective gene can also die at an early age. Now the example of monogenic disorders can be phenylketonuria, sickle cell anemia, it can be hemophilia, night blindness, albinism, etc. and etc. We will see few of the examples of monogenic disorders. Now, albinism is the monogenic disorder. Now, in our body, in the normal humans, the skin color, the eye color, and the hair color are due to the brown pigment that is melanin. So, we have melanin in our body, which gives color to our eyes, hair, and skin. But in this disease, the body cannot produce melanin. And as melanin cannot be produced, the skin color is not developed. The skin color becomes pale, the hair and the eyelashes becomes white, and usually they look pink in color, and this is because of the absence of melanin. And even the retina which are there, the sclera which is there in us, that is also not developed. Any pigment, any type of pigment is not developed as well in the eyes. So all of this, they all look like a pinkish color, and this is because of the reduced amount of melanin or no amount of melanin which is produced in these bodies. And the people who do not have melanin in their body, they suffer through this disease that is called as albinism. Now another example is sickle cell anemia. Now, sickle cell anemia is a hereditary disease. That means it can be transferred from one generation to the other generation, and it is caused due to the mutation in single gene. And as it is caused due to mutation in single gene, it is the monogenic disorder. Now, normally the hemoglobin has glutamic acid, but the glutamic acid is replaced by valine. And as it is replaced by valine, so the shape and the structure of the hemoglobin changes. Now usually the structure of the erythrocytes, that is the RBCs, these are biconcave. But in sickle cell, what happens because of the valine, it becomes what? It becomes a sickle shape. And as the RBCs become sickle shape, this is called as what? The sickle cell anemia. Now, as it is sickle shaped, so the oxygen carrying capacity of the hemoglobin in these individuals, those who get sickle cell anemia, it reduces. And because as it is not oval, because of the structure, more amount of oxygen is not carried. It becomes sickle shaped, so less amount of oxygen is carried. So because of which the oxygen carrying capacity is reduced in sickle cell anemia, people suffering from sickle cell anemia. Now, in most cases, the clumping and destruction of erythrocytes can occur, and because of which the blood vessels are obstructed, and as the blood vessel is obstructed, so the circulatory system, our brain, our lungs, our kidneys are all connected to our blood vessels, and even if a one single blood vessel is obstructed, it can lead to damage to any of the system. It can lead to kidney failures, lung failure, or brain disorder, brain damage. Anything can happen because for the people who are suffering from sickle cell anemia because of the sickle shaped cells. Now, the symptoms of sickle cell anemia usually are the swelling of legs, then pain in hands and joints, and usually they get cough and cold, and always they have a pale face, and also their hemoglobin count is very less. Now, there can be two types of person that can be affected due to sickle cell anemia. One is sickle cell anemia carrier. That means they can carry a gene for sickle cell. They are called as AS, that is the carrier. And another one are the sufferer. Those who are suffering from sickle cell anemia, they are capital S and capital S. If they are carrier, that means they are not having sickle cell anemia, but they have genes of sickle cell anemia. So if they get married to someone who's again a carrier of sickle cell or is suffering from sickle cell anemia, then there are chances that this disease can be transferred to their offspring. Now, the symbol for normal individual is capital A, capital A. For a carrier is capital A, capital S, and for a sufferer is capital S and capital S. Now, if two individuals get married, that is a man and a woman, so that is they both are normal. So that means their progeny, their offspring that will be produced, they will be normal. But if either one of them is a carrier, so that means either man is carrier or a woman is carrier and the other one is normal, then there are 50% chances that the progeny will be normal and 50% chances that the progeny or the offspring will be a carrier. If one of them, that is if one of the parent is a sufferer, that is either a man is sufferer or a woman is sufferer, then there is the chances that all their progeny will be a carrier because one is sufferer. So that means if even if the female is normal and the man is sufferer, then also the chances of their children is that all of them can get the gene for carrying the disease. Next is, if both are carrier, then there will be chances that 25% of their progeny will be normal and their 25% of the progeny can be sufferer and 50% can be carrier. Now, even if the one parent is carrier and one parent is sufferer. So one parent is having A and S and one parent is having S and S. So there is 50% chances that their offspring will be a carrier and 50% that their offspring will be a sufferer. And if both are the sufferer, then all their offspring will be a sufferer, they will not be carrier. If they are suffering from sickle cell anemia, both the parents are suffering from sickle cell anemia, so all their children will suffer from sickle cell anemia. Now, if a person is suffering from sickle cell anemia or if is a carrier of sickle cell anemia, then they should get themselves tested before marriages so that this disease is not transferred to the progeny, not transferred to the offspring. So what can be done is they should take a proper test whether they are carrier or sufferer, and if they are carrier and sufferer, such marriages should be avoided. And also the person suffering from sickle cell anemia, they should always take a folic acid tablet daily. Now, next are the mitochondrial disorders. Now, the mitochondrial DNA may also become defective due to mutation. So, this happens because of the fertilization. So, at the time of fertilization, the ovum cell, it can be affected, and this is inherited only from the mother. So, this mitochondrial disease, we can get a Leber hereditary optic neuropathy, which is an example of a mitochondrial disorder in which the nervous system is not proper in these individuals. Now, next is the disorder That is because of the mutation in multiple genes. Whenever there is a disorder or the mutation in multiple genes, that is called as the polygenic disorder. That means this is the mutation in more than one gene. And the common example of the polygenic disorder can be constricted stomach, there can be cleft palate, and normally the diabetes, blood pressure, heart disorder, asthma, obesity, all these are the examples of the polygenic disorders. Now, polygenic disorder do not follow the Mendel's principle of heredity. These disorders arise from a complex interaction between the environment, their lifestyle, and defect in several genes. So it is not necessary that these disorders are transferred from one generation to the other generation. It can be because of the environment. The environmentally, these mutations are concerned as they are related to the environment because of our lifestyle also. Now, there is an interrelationship between tobacco addiction and cancer. Tobacco smoking causes cancer. Now, tobacco smoke consists of harmful chemicals like there are ammonia, there is sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide. So, they cause uncontrolled growth of the cell. And when the growth of the cell is not in a controlled manner, we know that because of the division in our body, our cells divide and new cells are formed. But when these cells grow in an uncontrolled way, from one there should be only two cells, but then now we are getting 10 cells which are produced. From 2 will get 4, 4 from 8, and these way the cells are just being produced without even needing the division to take place. Then it is can lead to cancer. Now, tobacco smoke is full of a minute carbon particle which causes normal tissue lining of the lungs to transform into thickened black tissues. Even you must have seen when you used to go in the theaters and all, they used to show that how when you squeeze that tobacco ka smoke, when you squeeze that lung, then they get what that tar, that black color thing coming out. So that is all because this is just an illustration. So what will happen to our lungs become damaged because of these carbon particulates, and this leads to cancer. Therefore, tobacco smoking should be avoided at it, cause it can lead to cancer.